All right, Jacksonville Jaguars, 25. Buffalo Bills, 20. The Jags move to 3-2. The Bills fall to 3-2. The second straight London game for the Jags, and they come away 2-0 from their trip across the pond, where, by the way, Urban Meyer was undefeated across the pond over in England for all of his faults. Undefeated once they crossed the Atlantic. Urban Meyer era.
Yeah. Well, there was always the joke, right, that it's like the London Jags. You know, they're the team that's going to move. They're going to be, maybe they should.
Don't do it.
Undefeated over there.
Don't bring it up to poor Jags fans. But this was just a fascinating game. The Jags get up early. They're cooking early, score a touchdown. There's an Ed Oliver roughing the passer that prolongs their first drive, and then there's an Ed Oliver penalty on the extra point. Right? That gave on the touchdown that gave them the ball at the 1. The Jags go for 2, get up 8-0.
That one looked really harsh.
Yeah, there's some weird ones in this game, but Jags were up 11-0 right before the half. Bills score a touchdown, and Buffalo sitting there with 7 points well into the fourth quarter, and they start bombs away down the field. They make a little bit of a comeback, but Jags hold on, man. 25-20. What'd you make of this game?
Yeah, they did. Strange game because Buffalo, who had looked like the best team in the NFL for the majority of the season, certainly outside of that Jets meltdown by Josh Allen, weren't really getting anything done. And even the touchdown that they got before the half, it wasn't like an amazing play. It was just Diggs one-on-one with Tyson Campbell on the outside, just roasts him off the line. Campbell goes for the jam, misses, essentially. Diggs gets him with the release. And then it's just can Josh Allen see it and get the ball there before Tyson Campbell was able to close the gap of 5 yards of instant separation? He did. He got it in there just before halftime.
Not only did he get it in there, I happened to be in the car at the moment listening to that game. I was listening to the local Buffalo broadcast.
What kind of perspective do you get from the car?
I had there was a couple moments yesterday where I had the local broadcast. And the local broadcast for Buffalo, I was like, I can't wait to go back and watch this play. Because they made it seem like it was the fastest fastball that Josh Allen has ever thrown, right? It's like when the guy who already throws above 100 hits 105. I'm not sure that was my takeaway after seeing the pass, but they were like, he got it in there. It was a laser, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it was great. So they were very excited about the velocity on the Josh Allen.
You would be having just witnessed the rest of the game up until that point. No, it was a big play. It was a good play by them, but it was basically all they had. And then Jacksonville almost answered it right before halftime. So I don't know what was left on the clock. There was still a minute and something left.
Yeah, a minute and change.
Jacksonville almost drove down the field and got more points on the board, except A.J. Epinesa absolutely owned Cam Robinson back in the lineup. Strip sack, fumble recovery, gets the whole trifecta by him. It was almost the only pressure Cam Robinson gave up in the game. It was a weirdly Cam Robinson type of game where he's actually very, very good outside of the one play that ended up being literally the worst nightmare you can have other than your quarterback getting injured.
He's been far better in pass protection the last couple of years. Cam Robinson was forced into the lineup. He did not start initially. Walker Little, the left tackle for most of the season, right? Walker Little started and got hurt.
Yeah.
And then Cam came in. So A.J. Epinesa, he's having a really good season for the Bills. The back and forth on this game, because Jacksonville had a lot of opportunities and the Bills defense cracked down a bunch.
Despite how have they got so banged up in the secondary again? Everyone's
Buffalo?
hurt. And then Matt Milano going down as well.
Yeah, their two biggest injuries. I mean, I don't even want to say biggest, but Matt Milano, one of the league's best linebackers, gets hurt.
Which sounded, that last I heard, that was some kind of leg fracture and possible knee injuries. So that sounds bad.
Looked bad for Milano, and of course, coming into the season, linebacker, a huge question mark for Buffalo. How are they going to, replace Tremaine Edmonds? At least you still have Milano, so now he's likely out for the season. And then Daquan Jones at defensive tackle, he 90+ PFF grade so far this year. He missed he leaves the game early as well. So Buffalo not only loses the game, they lose some key players here. Von Miller comes back, plays just 20 snaps, not a huge impact from Von Miller. So they've got some guys coming back like Vaughn, but a ton of depth issues, and like you said, several in the secondary as well.
Yeah, it's repeating. I don't understand how this happens to teams where one random unit gets really banged up in a given year. And you're like, well, that won't happen again. Like, that was weird, right? And then next year, the same unit gets really banged up again with completely different injuries and often different players. Like, how does that keep repeating? I mean, Buffalo's secondary has gone from they're going to be way better than last year because they're going to be healthy this season. And then Tre'Davious White pops his Achilles, and like the whole thing is spiraling again. The whole secondary is getting hurt, and Matt Milano, who might be, you know, the most important player in the back seven with no Tremaine Edmonds there anymore, he's gone as well. Like, that's a real couple of body blows to the Bills.
From a Jags perspective, again, a couple weeks of Calvin Ridley's production going down after he was really good in week one. Looked like they were making an effort to get him the ball early and often, getting him out in space. And that was their initial drive, I thought, was excellent for Jacksonville. And there was a much better distribution with Ridley having 7 catches for 122 and Christian Kirk getting involved. And then Travis Etienne just continued to make big plays. And, you know, me, and I love a good speed back. Love the speed backs, but ETN kept, even whether it's tight red zone, getting to the outside for a touchdown, had the 35-yarder too. Every time the Jags looked like they would seal the deal, hey, the Bills kept coming back and, flipping the field with big-time throws and downfield throws. But I thought overall the Jags needed this game to say, hey, we can hang, right? That same discussion we had about the Cowboys and the Niners and the Eagles. Can the Jags hang with the best teams? And now, I know they lost to the Chiefs back in week 2, but they only gave up 17 points to the Chiefs. They only gave up 20 to Buffalo, and I know Buffalo's got all this weird stuff going on there, but the Jags showing they could hang with Buffalo, who looked like, like you said, the best team in the league. And the Jags, I thought that it was great that they handled all the counter punches, right? It was a good back-and-forth heavyweight battle type of game because Trevor Lawrence, he made a couple weird decisions in the pocket, put the ball on the turf a couple times. But the Jags kept hanging tough, and they won it with the run game, they won it through the pass game, and they won it with the defense kind of making life difficult for the Bills to put points on the board.
Yeah, and I think we kind of knew that already based off that Chiefs game a couple of weeks ago. But what's happening now is that the receivers are not like actively screwing them over week on week. For a couple of weeks, those receivers have been making some plays rather than hanging them out to dry. It's a shame that this is actually technically a home game for Buffalo, because had it been a home game for Jacksonville, I would have had a phenomenal conspiracy theory. Did you see the way they painted the end zones? Or at least one end zone specifically?
What in particular?
So, the way normally it's like the white line, the big, yard wide line to mark to the edge of the end zone, but then immediately inside of that is just whatever color the end zone is. Well, here it wasn't. There was like a foot wide strip of grass colored turf between the white and the blue of the end zone. So I was wondering if Jacksonville had been like, well, our receivers are consistently a foot just over the line, so why don't we make them think that actually the end zone is a foot shorter than it is, and that way they'll be down in the green, which is in the end zone. Touchdown. Zay Jones gets the feet in this time. Coincidence? I'll leave it there.
Part of the reason why I enjoy a Monday morning is because, I've watched all the games and tried to take in as much information as possible, and you have as well.
Yeah.
And you have seen things that I haven't seen. Sometimes I see things that you haven't seen, but you always bring a slightly different perspective to the table, Sam.
I got a great one for you later. You'll love it.
Yeah.
Different game, but you wait till he comes.
I'm sure it's great. Just to wrap this thing up, from a Buffalo perspective, I don't know how these games get this out of hand, but it became another Josh Allen has to be a superhero game. Like, they did not do anything on the ground. Allen was the leading rusher for the Bills with 14 yards. Also had a touchdown in there. And he drops back, 40-plus times. So it doesn't – when they lose, it's like, hey, they need more balance. Sometimes they win these games. But these are the games I think the Bills want to avoid, right? Damian Harris and James Cook and Latavius Murray are pretty good. Like, they've had success this year.
Yeah, what was worrying from their perspective, I think, was so week 1 was worrying because it showed that Josh Allen is not really in control over when he has those meltdown games. And when he has those meltdown games, it's very difficult for him to win. And that's not a Josh Allen specific thing. That's just when your quarterback melts down in a game and starts pitching the ball to the defense like 3 times, it's really hard to win in the NFL. This was concerning because Josh Allen played really well and they still didn't win. Like, that's a whole different problem where, Josh Allen kind of was Superman and it still wasn't enough. That's problematic. Like, Diggs had a pretty big day. Gabe Davis had a really big day. Deontay Hardy made a few plays, but like Josh Allen was pretty spectacular. And they still weren't. Not only did they not win the game, but they weren't even like, it was a 5-point game, so obviously they were close. But like Jacksonville had them shut down for the majority of that game.
They did. And again, from a Jacksonville perspective, I don't know how to bottle up their consistency. They gave up 37 points to the Jags and Bills combined. They gave up 37 to the Texans. 7 were on a kick return, but they gave up 30 to the Texans offense. And we didn't see that coming. Like, if Jacksonville shows these flashes, but can they, especially defensively, just be a little bit more consistent week to week? I think that's the big question going forward for me, for the Jags. So Jags win 25-20. They'll be coming back